Hey everybody, just working on my Scorpion. This is my new project. I have my controller move on. There we go. I got my moves working. There we go. Should probably start with the legs. I guess. Been kind of putting them off. They need to make that the default. It's called Hmm. What's this again? It's the crop. It's the cut. No, not that much. Crap. Really? Oh, did not know that was a thing.
Greetings, JR.
What's going on? Not the blue I want. Maybe if we need to change that color. I'm working on my new character. This is just a leg. It's an effect that I'm going for that I've done on my Scorpion so far. Because the blue blends in with the black. I mean, I know I can paint it, but it's just something different when you actually do the sculpts.
So you're making a scorpion?
Yeah, give me 1 second and I'll zoom out so you can see what I've got so far. This is like his markings that I'm doing. See, that's just one leg. See? That's what I've got done on him so far. And he will be controllable. I can actually my dual shock. See? I just built him like a regular puppet and then
Very cool.
transferred him over. Thank you. Yeah, I'll have his claws moving and be like an attack, sting with his tail, all that stuff once I'm all done. I got to work on the legs. The animation for the legs is actually kind of difficult. I know how they need to operate. It's just trying to get them to animate to work that way. Yeah. It slides a little bit, it looks like. Yeah, so I just did this split, this top part of the leg. That's what I was just doing. See, like I did the blue there because I had the blue up here on his head, his pinchers. So now I want to do this to these legs, and then of course over here. I don't know if I would be able to copy.
I'm having trouble creating a legged character puppet seems. To prevent it,
Like when you do a puppet, I find it easy to sculpt onto the puppet. Like I know some people like to take different pieces and put the pieces onto the puppet, like separately, like sculpt in and stuff like that. I find it so much easier to actually sculpt on the puppet itself. Yeah, watch, actually. I'll show you. See, like one of my characters. This is a recent one, my Dark Knight. See, so like him, everything was crafted or sculpted onto the puppet itself, and then I just went from there. It's like his whole head is that way too. See, so like that's all one sculpt except for his eyes because I wanted them to glow. Like if you wanted to
yeah,
look,
I want to make my character crawl but puppet goes whack.
yeah, yeah, nah, I've had issues like that too. Usually, like if you think you got the animations right and it's just like he falls apart or something like that, it's always one or two things. It's either it's set to movable when it shouldn't be, or it's collidable when it shouldn't be. Those are the issues I've had with my puppets. So like the scorpion I was working on, so he had no puppet logic at all. So I built him like I would a puppet. And when I brought the puppet logic over and I went to take like control of him, his all his limbs were like doing 360s. His tail was spinning like crazy. I had to actually go in and change a lot to not movable, and then a few things just had to get changed to not collide, so it doesn't collide with itself sometimes. But yeah, this is all one sculpt, and like if you want it to blend, then you just use the blend tool. But if you don't want it to blend, just shut the looseness like all the way down and make sure the blend is down, and
Thank
it
you for the tip.
no problem. And I mean, you can tell it's mixing a little bit, but it keeps it to a minimum, so it still looks like the red is separate from the black and then from the head. Because all this was all done in one scope. Oh, man, I hate the controlling on the DS4. There, see? I got all these different shapes and stuff like that. You know, it's actually a lot of people is the cape. The cape is a free-flowing physical object. Uh, so like the cape moves when he moves. What are the controls? Oh yeah, pulls out his shield.
Cape is awesome.
Turns it into a scythe. I gotta smooth out the animation, but I wanted to keep it basic so it wasn't too complicated. If anyone wanted to remix them or use them, because actually I made, let's see, this guy, my wizard. He was very popular, like everybody likes him, but I don't think anyone likes to use him because he's got so much logic. So, it's my wizard. So like that's all his controls. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot. Oh yeah. Let's see what was it. Let's see. Fire, and then he can shoot fireballs. There's ice. Same thing. And I think just with all this logic for all these spells is just too much for someone to actually go in and use them for something.
Impressive period.
Wind. Then he also has AoEs. So like I pull out a targeting thing, and I can move it wherever I want. And then I can press square. And then I can move it over here.
Lol.
Yeah, I mean 35 thumbs up. It doesn't actually tell you how many people. Huh. I guess it doesn't tell you on characters. Because I know on my one game that I have, it actually tells me how many people. And if I go into indreams.me, it tells you how many people played it, how long they played it, stuff like that. Yeah, that's my game, The Pyramid of Mysticism. It's a puzzle game.
You're really advancing in this game.
Dude, this is all I play. Like, I was waiting for this game for like ages. Like when they first announced it a couple E3s ago, I was like, oh my God, I'm like, this game's gonna be amazing. But then it kind of like fell off the radar, and like I didn't know what was going on with it. I didn't know if it was still coming out, if it was being canceled. Like I had no clue. And then all of a sudden, I saw this early access, and that's when I jumped on it. I didn't even know there was a beta before the early access. Otherwise, I would have tried to get into that too. So ever since the early access, this is literally all I've been doing.
I love the game he was waiting 5 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was a long time ago. That's why I didn't know what was becoming of it. I mean, I played Little Big Planet. I liked all that too. I like the whole creative. It's not your typical shooter and all that stuff. I mean, I like those games too, but
Struggling but in trying.
Yeah, that's it, man. A lot of trial and error, a lot of experiments. These I think are just the color black. Yeah, the hardest part I think a lot of people
The
have
grind.
the grind. Yeah, always the grind. I think a lot of people have issues with is the logic too, and it's actually like when I first started, the logic was kind of difficult, but then there's some other great YouTubers out there that have some like phenomenal tutorials. They actually help a lot. I'm gonna cut off just a little bit. There we go. And I was watching all those videos for like ages, and then trying to do them inside the game. And then I started. What did I make? My first game was actually Pac-Man. I mean, I look back at it now and I laugh because I was still learning. But basic logic, and then I just kept watching more and more stuff on YouTube. There's, like I said, there's a lot of people out there, and when you watch other people do it different ways, and
I
then you
should be
try
playing now but you're on. Kinda
it.
blame you lol.
So, you have the PlayStation Move, or do you use just the DualShock? Well, sometimes I fumble with buttons.
Dual crap controller.
It's like I actually use it quite a bit sometimes, depending on what I'm doing. Like I find it easier, believe it or not, on the DualShock 4 to do like a precision thing, where if I'm just doing stuff like this, it's easier to use the move. But when I'm like doing precision moves and stuff, I use the DualShock all the time. It definitely has its perks. That's why I switch back and forth. But certain things, just like basic sculpting, that's when I think the moves really shine and make a big difference. You still have issues with the placement, but like the issue I have with the DualShock is the depth.
I would love to try the move sticks.
Yeah, definitely a game changer, in my opinion, for sculpting only. Like when I do logic and everything like that, it's always with the DualShock. Yeah. See, sometimes get stuff like this with the move is very hectic trying to get it lined up. Maybe I'm better. I don't know if I'm all the way at the end or not. No, see, it's all cockeyed. Oh my god. stuff like this is what gets me annoyed. Just trying to get a just to line up. That's all I want. And to make sure it's on the right angle. And then when you go messing with this stuff, sometimes it doesn't help. Let's see. Yeah, see, I can't tilt it down because I want to tilt it down. That's not going to work. Because let's move. Let's see. See, no, that doesn't really work. It's sloping. It's if I after I place it. All right. Nope. Too far down on this end. You know what? I'm just gonna stamp it. See if I
Coolant, by the way.
Mhm. Yeah, it's actually not too bad. I like this up a little higher though. There we go. That's better. Yeah, I'll take it. Forward. So there's like certain lines that are on this shape that I can only move those lines. I wish they had them more highlighted, I guess. So like this middle line is the center. That's why it goes up. This one here goes out. That's like the turning point. I just wish those were highlighted better so I knew which ones were the main lines. Let's see.
Do you create by side or what you've remembered?
Well, what when I create something new? I don't know, like I come up with like an idea of what I want to make, and then most part it's just winging it. Really, I start off with something with like just an idea. So like on this guy, I started off with the head because I had an idea of how I wanted the head to look, and just went from there. I mean, that's one of the good things about this. Like if you mess up, you could just undo it. You could redo it if you decide you want it
Cool.
anyway. Um, yeah, I mean a lot of it. really, it's just going with the flow. Like on my Dark Knight, I had an idea of what I wanted to look like. He kind of looks like what I wanted him to look like, but like certain things that I was doing because I was trying like different shapes, cutting out different things, and I was like, oh, that actually looks really good. You know what? I'm gonna stick with that, and I just stayed with that, and just certain things just went with it. Yeah, that's what I tell everybody. You just really gotta experiment and mess around with it. Go for that effect again. Here we go again with this. Let's turn this up some. Just so we can get that little blue effect. This is straight though. Right? Is that nice straight? And that's what's screwing me up? It's actually this. Oh, man. Better off. See, can I do it with this? See, like when you use this tool, it's so much easier with the dual shock than it is with the move. There we go. There we go. Just like the other one. See, that's one thing I miss when you do your own, when you do it off like a deluxe puppet, it mirrors like the different the arms and the legs. So you literally only have to do it once. So like I don't mind putting in that extra detail on the one arm because it's automatically getting done on the other arm. But when you get stuff like this, I have multiple. Then, and I tried the whole live cloning. I don't understand how that actually all works. I'm gonna have to really mess around with that because I'm pretty sure I did the live cloning, and it's not copying onto the other legs, unfortunately. There we go. See, I would hope that it would transfer over here, but it's not, and I don't know why.
But I've noticed when I mirror things they are exactly even.
When you mirror, yeah, when you mirror, mirror is a little funny tool too because it's
Still
the
figuring it out.
yeah the mirror like when you go into mirror mode, the first object you place is where the line of the mirror is gonna appear. They need to fix that. They need to make it so that way you can move that line. Because sometimes, so like here, I did this part, and this part all with the mirror tool. So that way, if I did one side, it would affect the other. But because they're individual pieces, I couldn't get the middles of each mirror lined up so it would be perfectly straight. Let's see, so I just show everything. See, like the mirror, see, so like that's the mirror tool there. But then when I go here, see, it would have to be over like here more. So it didn't actually line up perfectly. The same
When
thing
I
here.
tested, they are not exactly even.
Yeah, that's why I wish they would.
Typo before.
I wish they would fix that with the whole mirror thing. I know it's on the feedback forums. A lot of people have voted for it, so hopefully they'll introduce that. I still got it on. How bad is this? Yeah, I gotta cut some of that. There we go. All right, it's coming along. Actually, let's see. What happens if I do? The taper effect.
The spots give it texture and depth. Good choice.
Yeah, I'm still experimenting with a lot of stuff. Um, so like I've seen on YouTube some people that did just with paint mode alone, like some amazing stuff. So I would like to learn how they do that. I think all right, that narrows it some. Not enough. So I would like to mess around with that a little bit more. Just a little bit better. So it's not as thick from here going down. Yeah, like on my wizard, that I learned a lot about and my Dark Knight, the flex. That's how I was able to do his kite, um, magic, all that stuff. Let me print this real quick. Yeah, sometimes it's better just until you get the feel of everything. I think it's better sometimes just to go in and just create on the fly and see what you come up with. I mean, I still have issues with people's faces, mostly like the mouth, nose. So that's why, like, oh my wizard, he has a nose, but
G.
he doesn't have a mouth. Because I put the beard on him to hide the mouth. gotta go through that all over again. See, this is just a clone. But if you go all the way out, it's live cloning. Because when you're on a puppet and you're doing one arm, it's cloning the other arm. That's why they both come out the same. Without the mirror, they just clone each other. But you can actually go on to one, like on my Dark Knight, like if I had if I wanted to do the shield on the one arm, but not appear on the
Hi
other
Luke D.
arm,
Coulinier.
you can actually shut off the live cloning if you want to do a difference to one shoulder or one arm and not appear on the other. Oh, yeah, I need to change this color. You know, like I build it all in one color, like this, just so I see how everything blends, everything goes together, and then I'll just spray paint it. It's too dark. You know, even though I've been playing this game a lot, there's still a lot of stuff I still learn. Like I just found out the other day, there's a tool, it's called Freeze, and if you use it, if you mark something frozen, you can't edit it, move it, nothing. So like depending on what you're doing, that can actually come in real handy. Yeah, that actually looks pretty good. Nope, it's way off. Oh, I could bring this side in. Actually, that's actually pretty good. I'm gonna keep it. You know, stuff like this, I find the moves so much easier.
I found a way to lose a saved creation without purposely.
I don't know how you do that. I haven't lost anything.
Deleting it.
Uh, I mean, I've deleted stuff on purpose, not on accident. Come on.
Nor do I.
You know, that's what I think. I could be wrong. I think you can actually save, not only to like dreams when you did a quick save, but I think you can actually save it to your PS4 separately. So I mean, if you think you're gonna do that mistake again, that might be a good idea for you. So that way you don't lose anything.
I saved it and locked for it. It was gone.
Yeah, that stinks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I try to stream when I'm like off from work and stuff like that. So that way, sometimes watching people do things, you're like, oh, I never thought of that. And it might be something that you might want to use at a future creation. Um, Now I wish I could just clone this and then change the color, but I can't. So go with that effect again. See, in this effect that I do here, like I said, you can do it with the painting, but it's something with the sculpting that makes it. I think it makes it look a little bit better. Um, I just started this when I was doing the head by accident, and I'm like, you know what, that actually looks pretty cool. I'm gonna leave that, and then I just been duplicating that effect as I go through and build. So I have to blend a little. See, I hate when that happens. It like changes, even though.
YouTube videos of people purposely being stung by scorpions. Why?
I don't know why, but that does not surprise me. I don't know. People do some ridiculous things.
Lol.
I mean, I know some scorpions aren't actually all that deadly, but there's ones that will kill you in like a couple seconds. So unless you know what scorpion you're getting stung by, I mean, it'll still be irritating, but you won't die. But that's, I don't know why people do stupid stuff like that. It amazes me the stupidity that's out there sometimes. It was like that whole craze of people eating Tide Pods. Like seriously? I mean, don't get me wrong. When I was younger, I did some stupid stuff, but I ain't eating no Tide Pods. Throw in a couple of these.
It's going to hurt worse than my wife taking the credit cards.
Yeah, that's never a good thing.
I want no part of it.
Something different. There we go. One more leg on this side. Quick drink. My so-called gamer fuel. Alright. Um, this is my favorite tool, the curve. The curve is really good. Uh, I don't like it with the DS4, but it works really great with the mouse.
Yes, fun shape.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, when you do it with the move controller, it's like, I don't know, it doesn't work as well. I don't know, I find it so much easier with the move controller. Because you not only can you just twist on each end to make the tapering, but then you can like kind of position it the shape that you want before you put it down. On a dual shock, it's not like that. That is actually a pretty good one right there. Yeah, see, like with the move, see, like that's how it was with the DS4, and then you have to like play around with it to get it. On here, I just bang the two moves, and it becomes like this. X on each side will twist it.
Clone tool is dope. Do and undo, love them.
The clone, yeah, that's actually how I did his whole tail, except for this last one. I made a circle that fit here,
Lucky.
and then went all the way around, shrunk this one, and just spent it. Same thing with the rib effect on here. Same thing. The same thing on there too. Just pop the one, copy it, bring it over, shrink it down. All these spikes, all these spikes are done that way. Clone. It's actually all the same spike on all of them. They're just different sizes. Actually, on my Dark Knight, there's a lot of clone effects on him too.
Dang, I want move sticks. Do that. Click again, please.
The click thing. What to resize like this? Yeah, it's true. On the DualShock, it's different. You have to actually like do each side, or well, no, you press O, right? I think it's O. I don't use it enough to remember what the buttons do for stuff like that. But when it comes to using like the grid or
You tap the
logic,
sticks together.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll show you. It actually does for a lot of the tools like that. So like, well, actually, any shape. So like that's small. Instead of me pressing O and turn and resize it, I could just do this. See, and then you can like manipulate it however you want. Right? Or you can go back that way. And you can do that with any shape. So even like this,
What the? I'm
right?
jealous.
So you can make it like this, or I can make it like this, and then you can turn it so you know how wide. Yeah, just like that. And then I press the one trigger button, and then it becomes the shape that I want. And then I can place it wherever I want. So that's why I said I like this one, because it's a ball, and I tap them together, and it does that. And then I could shrink it. There's also
That is a
uh,
serious option.
so like this too. So like this is a solid object, but say I'm like, all right, I put the block there, but then I want to cut out of it. If I bang the top of the one controller to the bottom of the other, it turns it into a negative thing, and then I can turn it back again. See? Just by banging the bottom of it. Oh, now it's not working. Oh, there we go.
What the? Bro?
Yeah, it's actually really cool that they have like certain ones like that. I don't know if it does it the other way. But there's all like little hidden tricks and tips and stuff like that. Some of it you learn, I think, in the move tutorials. Um, if
That is
you
cool.
if you go on online, there's actually like I don't even know where you would find it, but there's like cheat sheets out there of different things that you can do with the controllers. Kind of like shortcuts, I guess. So that way you know what you can do. But you know, it's actually funny because I started the game with the DualShock. Features like that where it goes negative and stuff like that. I don't always do it that way. I still go into the menu a lot of times because I'm so used to doing it that way from using the DualShock. Oh,
I'm trying to tap my dual boring controller and it laughed.
yeah. Like I said, when I first got the game, I was like, oh, I got the DualShock. I mean, I still enjoyed it, but the maneuvering of the imp is what ruined it for me. Like, I don't know why, but it was so difficult to get him positioned just right in the depth department. So like he seemed far away, and then but I was working on something close. Come on, wait, I'll show you after I get this piece done. So cut
I understand you 100% on that.
that. Like, I don't know why it keeps going to that end of the stick. A little bit more. That's pretty close. Not the steadiest of hands either. Yeah, so like if I'm working on something, sometimes the imp will be like it's over here for whatever reason. Uh, you can't like get it over. On here, all you gotta do is zoom out and then zoom in. And as long as you zoom in, it keeps it see that 1 to 1. So that way I know I'm this close to it. Not that I'm like actually like this far away, but it looks like I'm like right on top of it. So that's how you can do it with everything. So like I can do it like this. So I'm actually looking at this 1 to 1. Then when I look over here, see if I just pull myself closer, see it's taking me forever to get there. And you can't really tell the depth too much. Like, am I past it? Am I on it? I don't know. But if I zoom out and then go in like this, then it goes right to 1 to 1. See, so it's always 1 to 1. That was a big changer for me because that's one of the issues I had big time with the DualShock. See, like here, it seemed like it was so far away. There we go.
My struggle, you'll hear me say, well, there goes the camera.
Go. I didn't do. That one's actually a little crooked. That's alright, because his leg is going back. So let me do
Be right back, unless aliens capture me.
Alright.
I saw that Tappy, I'm jealous still, bro. Go.
Taking a little break real quick. I'll be back. Just wanted to get a drink and stuff. I'm over it now. No, no, that side's done. Do this side. So let's see. Oh, oh man, I hate when that happens. It's too skinny. And so annoying. Good. Sure.
Sorry, but I've returned.
It's all good, bro. The more the merrier. That way it doesn't seem like I'm talking to myself. something on the other side now. Oops. Good. Triangle.
Have you entered any of the jams yet?
No, actually, I haven't. I've actually thought about it. But it just stinks because I have my own stuff that I want to create, and because of I guess my work schedule, it takes a while for me to actually get stuff done. Sometimes it feels like, so that's why I haven't joined one. Because usually I'm already in the process of doing something, so I don't want to stop what I'm doing to do like the jam. Unless they come out with a jam with something that I already created, that would actually be really nice. I was actually thinking because now I think this week it says ancient times. I was thinking about doing something and if I finish, I should be able to finish it. Put my scorpion in it because if I do like ancient times, you do like it kind of goes with the whole motif. So I figure at least that would actually work out pretty good. Because I mean, you could throw a scenery together actually pretty quickly. It's usually like the finer details for me anyway that take much longer to do. So if I can actually already add something that I already did, that would be perfect.
I'll put my mother-in-law as a character for the theme.
Ancient times, ancient times. Let's take it off, just like I did with the other ones. Yeah, I would like to make another game. I mean, like Pyramid one is actually pretty cool. I did enjoy that. That one took me a while. Um, I don't know what kind of game I would do. And I also have the ideas of stuff that I want to sculpt still. Like my next one I would like to do is a car, like a muscle car of sorts. Uh, kind of like a futuristic, I guess. Like I said, I have ideas, but whether it pans out that way or not, I won't know until I actually start crafting. It's like I have an idea, like a futuristic looking muscle car with a blower on the front. You can do all the animations and stuff like that. I think that would be actually pretty cool. But whether or not it actually comes out like that, I have no idea. That's what I would shoot for, and then see what happens. But who knows? I mean, the Scorpion pretty much came out how I expected it to. Maybe not the color scheme per se, like that wasn't something I was thinking of at the time. But everything else, pretty much. Yeah. All right, 3 more to go. Then I might do his tail because I know his claws are gonna take me some time because I mean the way I did it, and you got this part, and then this part. Um, this is gonna stay like that, and that's gonna stay like that. But this is gonna become two different pieces. It's gonna have the one side of the claw here, and then one of the other side's claws here. I've looked online at real life scorpions to get an idea of their claws, but I wanted like meaty claws. I wanted some like decent. I don't want those little like crab claws or whatever. I want some nice claws. So there's actually a couple scorpions. One's what was it? I think it's called an emperor scorpion. The claws are massive, huge, but they're like I don't know. It sounds weird, but when you're thinking of like insects or whatever, but it was kind of like almost muscular. Like it actually looked pretty cool. So I'll definitely be doing some meaty claws on him. And I want to have it so that way animations, so that way you push like one button, one claw reaches out and like snaps at the target or whatever, and then press like another button, has the left side do the same thing. You can press both at the same time and have them like lunge his claws out forward and snap them, open and close. Uh, I also want to make his, I forgot what they're called. I don't want him to say fangs, but his pinchers, yeah, that's it, the pinchers. I want to make them animated too, so they open and close on their own. I think that would be pretty cool too. But do it like a random. So when I did one of my other characters, actually I think it's the only character I actually did it on, was a dragon that I made. It's a biped character dragon. It was literally like a third sculpture. Yeah, I think it was my third sculpture since I started playing, and I learned a lot with him too. He's not as smooth with the animations as some of my other characters, um, but he definitely came out pretty cool. And I have blinking. He blinks, and it's random. So like he might blink, and then he might have to wait a second or two or three, and then he'll blink again. It's kind of how I want to do his pinchers that are in the front. Same method. He doesn't always pinch them, but he will on occasion, and then have it set randomized so I don't have to worry about it at all. It'll just do it on its own. Not that I have to tie it into any other animations. Because that's where it can get really crazy depending on how much animations you want to do. So like when I did my wizard, oh my god, like all that magic and everything, is so much animations. And when I did it, you have to turn it like visible and invisible, so that way you won't see it, and then when I do cast it, you do see it and stuff like that. And at first it got like super crowded. I had so much stuff almost on top of each other that was all invisible or visible. So you can actually toggle your view to view the invisible. And when you do it, I see all the items, and it's so much. It clutters up, and trying to maneuver to pick a certain um, thing that I have hidden, and then try to manipulate it or do whatever it is that I want to do with it. It's actually really hard to dig it out amongst all the other ones that are there. I did find an easier way of doing that later on. Um, I just cloned it and then changed its color and left it uh, during like a keyframe. So it might be red, but when the keyframe activates, it turns it blue, and then it still animates it as if it was red. So that was the way I was able to figure it out, but that was way after the fact. So I still had like all that stuff taking all that space up that was invisible. I wish they had a something, not that you could toggle through your invisibility stuff, but make it easier. I'm moving right along with these legs. They're getting a little bit easier now.
So is there a puppet in that scorpion, or did you build it?
Uh, there was actually, like, I wasn't sure how to do
From
something.
scratch?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much did do it from scratch, but I did use a deluxe puppet mechanic. It, it's kind of weird. So, like, I wasn't sure how to actually do, because I've done all bipeds, just like the basic puppet, so it's only the two legs. It makes things a lot easier. But I'm like, man, I would like to do something like this, like a scorpion. I've actually thought about doing a scorpion for a while now. But the fact that he has so many legs, I don't know how to. I didn't know how to actually do that, and I didn't know too much about the procedural animation, which is pretty much the animations that the puppets come stock with. the walking, the running, and all that stuff. So I knew I'd have to turn that off. So I'll show you what I did. So when I crafted the scorpion or created him, I actually created him with all separate objects. So like originally on the scorpion, all these pieces here, you can't see. So like his head, that was a ball. And actually, if I was actually, I don't know if I can get in there, but between his head and his body is a neck piece. And then I made this piece. And then there's another piece here, and then this piece. So think of it as his head. So if you had a puppet, his head, his neck, his chest, his torso, stomach area, and then his waist. So that's kind of how I built it in like chunks like that. The tail is different, and then the same thing. Like figure this as his arm, and then I think I might have made this as his leg, and then I just put these other pieces in. So that's why he has this platform. So what I did is I made all the shapes, laid it out how I wanted it, went in and I made, let's see, what I have to do here. Yeah, I added the connectors. Once you add all the connectors, it makes it like it's grouped. So it'll make it just like how it is now, where everything is highlighted in that white, because it kind of brings it all together and makes it one piece, kind of like a puppet. Let's see if I bring out a puppet. Yeah, so like this puppet, if I put the puppet here, see? It highlights everything in white, like it's one piece. So after I did all the
Wow.
connectors, that's how this became. But then when you scope into the puppet, then you can see it's different pieces. And that's exactly how I built it. So like his head is the scorpion's head, his chest is, but I didn't actually build it off of a puppet. What I actually did was I picked up once I got the sculpt done before I did any of this detail. Because it's like one piece, I just picked it up, went over to a puppet, scoped in, and once I was scoped in far enough, like this, it actually takes over for the puppet and makes it one object. So if I had the scorpion here and then I brought it into here and I backed out, it would put the puppet and the scorpion together in one group, just like it is here, highlighted in white. So all I did was just delete the puppet and it left my scorpion with the puppet logic. And then I had to go in and was it in here? I think it was in here. Yeah, here. The procedural animation. I shut these off. So that way none of the puppet's animations will try to work on him. And then what you do is you go in here and when you pick see when I select the head, his head turns green. That's me telling the puppet logic that this here is his head. So when I click, see, you can't really see the neck turn green, just a little, but like his chest, his middle. So when you actually click on it, see, there's like a wire, and then I would pick. So that's his torso. I click on there, and that would make his torso this. So when I see, so it would be green. So that's exactly what I did on the scorpion. So after I brought it up, I'll show you. Nope, nope, nope. Where is it? There we go. So when I go in here, see, it's kind of weird how it's not highlighted, but see, like, that's his head. Oh, yeah, you don't see his neck, it's buried. Then that's his next piece. See? That's what I was talking about before. See, that's the piece that's glowing that you just don't see. That's his bottom. See? Yeah, those are his back legs. And then I even did each piece of the leg. So you got like that piece, and then that piece, and then that piece. So that's like his foot, his calf, and then his thigh. And I did it with his hands too. See? Hand, well, arm, forearm, and then his hand. So same thing. and that's how I did it for the whole thing. So now it knows. But like I said, I don't use any of the procedural animations. But it that's just because I have 8 legs. So like I can create my own character and then rig them up like that way. And as long as the proportions are pretty close to a puppet, I guess, the procedural animations will still work. Like I'm sure if I turn on procedural animations, he'll try to like this scorpion will try to like stand up and walk on its back 2 legs and like that type of stuff. But that would probably just break it. That's why I haven't done that. But that's how you would do it. So that's how you do really your own puppet, even though you're using the puppet logic. Because I mean, when you go into the puppet logic, I mean, I still have all this stuff, but like I said, I don't use some of it. So like, well, the jump animation, he jumps, so that works. The run, I doesn't work, but the follow behavior, um, and then of course, your basic controls, the possession, the health, and stuff like this. This is just for his walking animation. That's a signal manipulator. So what I'll do is I'll explain. So L1, not L1, the left stick is pressure sensitive. So if you push on it ever so slightly, it puts out a very light signal. But if I was to push it all the way over it, then it does a really strong signal. So think of it like a scale from 1 to 10. So if I push left very lightly on the left stick, it comes out as a signal of 1. If I push all the way to the right, not hard, but all the way over, then it becomes a signal of 10. So what I was having issues with, I had this hooked up to an AND gate. So when I push left on the D-pad, or left on the left stick, or right, or whatever direction on the left stick, and this is for when he's on the ground, so when he's actually on a ground surface, then it will trigger the animation of him actually looking like he's walking. But the problem was, is if I was just like kind of like lazily pushing on the left stick, the animation didn't work properly because it wasn't getting a full signal. And because the full signal wasn't going through to the animation, sometimes it would animate, sometimes it won't, sometimes it looked like the animation was in slow-mo. So what I did is I hooked up to a signal uh, manipulator, and what it does, uh, so I rigged it up for the threshold. So if it's 0.01, because that's how it kind of goes with the signals, if it's 0.01 or higher, it will always output 1, which is a full signal. So I would see no difference in the animation if I slightly pushed it or if I pushed it all the way, because no matter what, it will still output it as 1, which is a true signal. In fact, I can actually show you. No, I can't do it with that. I gotta use the dual shock. Where the hell did I put it? Alright. Oh, there it is. Alright. So on this,
I tried so hard to make a character crawl, no clue until now. Thank you.
so like when I possess him, see, you can still see the signal manipulator. So if I tap it slightly, look, you see that bar? It filled up like immediately. See? And I'm just barely touching it, and it's filling it up. But then when I push it all the way, it's still full. So I'm not even giving it enough for a signal. See, but now if I just push it a little bit, see, it still does the animation the same, whether I'm pushing a little bit or I'm pushing a lot. Because then what it would do is like, kind of like, I guess kind of like this. I'm probably pushing out less than a 0.01 of a signal. I'm pushing like so lightly. But it was kind of like doing like this. So that's why I had to put that in. So if you push, I mean, just rest your finger on it, it does the same animation as if I was pushing it all the way down. Oh, he fell. So yeah, that's why I had the signal manipulator. You should see some of the other logic that I've used in my other things. It's crazy. Um, you know what too? So like because when I build, I like the looseness um, to zero, so that way I could see more of the definitive outlines. Pushes my graphics up. See, with my graphics 81. I don't know if you know about this, but if you go into scope detail, see whatever's red means it's the most detailed. You don't need all this stuff so detailed. Like his claws, well, his pinchers, I don't need them detailed. I press R2 and it removes the detail from it. And if you watch my thermo, it goes down. And you can go all the way down to blue. Yeah, see? And you know what though? I like some -1 there. But some people say like, I don't know. I don't really notice that much of a difference. I mean, if you're up close, if it's something that's going to be, if like this close, then yeah, I would definitely say that. But like, I don't need his eyes detailed. It's just the shape that glows. Like certain things like that. Like his head, I might want detailed because it's his head. But even then, you can knock it down some. You don't. It doesn't have to be that detailed. Same thing with this. Like I don't know why this leg is so detailed compared to the other ones. Or this part, it's just black. I don't need it detailed. Hmm? And I could drop it down. Now what's my thermal at? Yeah, 56%. I was at 80% before. I mean, the tail probably the same way too. And then you can actually go into, and this is the memory, it's called. You tell me to consider the scale, and that's why the ground is red. I could just lower that a little bit too. Look, that just took away 5% because that's the amount of memory that it's taking. You can also do L1 R2, which will reduce the most detail. The only problem is if you want something that is detailed, so like say I want his thing like this detailed, if I press R1 and R2, it's going to reduce this first until it's lower than whatever the next most detailed piece is. And I wouldn't want to do that. I mean, let's see, like his claws are all blue. But granted, I haven't added any details in them yet, just the legs and this. This is, but it's so high like this because of the looseness, because I have the looseness set to like 0. Just like I reduced it on his pinches. Like I don't notice a difference really. To be honest with you, I don't notice any difference. That's exactly how it looked before, and I'm right up in its face. I gotta shut this off. Yeah. And then if you're doing like big sceneries, you do that in like the backgrounds because they're so far away.
I will use that option for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely helps. Like one of the games I did, Pyramids of Mysticism. After that, my graphics was super high for a long time, and then I found out about that. I was able to bring it down, and I was able to add more stuff to it because I lowered it. So like I made all like these crates and pots and fires and stuff that I was able to actually put all around it. And you can do the detailing on them too that that you bring in and add to it, and it'll keep it moderately low. So that's why some people have like these massive levels because depending on the perspective and everything else, they're actually able to lower the detail enough to just keep adding more and more and more and more stuff to it. There are some really good videos out there that explain the whole thermal process. Um, some of them like blow my mind away, but I guess it's more dependent on what you're doing. Because like if I craft like I think his name is Lucid Stew. He does like videos like that explain certain things. So like he did one where he created a box, just a regular box. He cloned it, and then he cloned it again. He cloned it to the point where he had I think it was like 300,000 blocks on his screen, and like it barely affected his thermo because they were all clones. Then he did one where he had the boxes and he painted it and cloned it, and it didn't really change it. Like he went through like a whole bunch of different steps to try to show off how the thermo gets affected. It's actually pretty weird how like if you make an object and then you're able to duplicate or clone that object multiple times and use it in different ways, you're actually saving yourself on the thermo. So what a lot of people have been doing lately, they're called, I guess modulars is what they're doing. So say I'm doing a scenery and I want to do rocks. I would build a rock, say it was a square rock. Each side of the rock do a different, say a different design or a different um, worn look to the rock or something like that. So when you paste that one block, you paste it in a certain way, and then you twist it, and then you paste it again. It's the same piece. It's just that it looks different because you're looking at it from a different side than what the other piece was. Let's see if I can show you. So like they would say do like, let's see, do something like this. So like that would be the block. And then what they did is because now see like this side is different. So what they would do is clone it and then they could change it around and then it looks different. You know, see? Like this, and then you can say connect like that. Same piece, and then you can do it like this. Say like that. See? And it's not affecting my thermal at all. Because it's all the same piece, it's just different sides that I'm seeing of it. And then you got something different. And that's what a lot of people are doing, like stones, grass, trees. You know, you build a tree, and then when you're playing
Same
your
but a different view.
right, exactly. And because it's one block that you're cloning over and over again, it doesn't affect your thermal. Yeah, I actually thought that was a pretty good idea too. When I saw that, in like something else, which I'll show you real quick. Which I started on the pyramids and mysticism. So, like in the pyramid of mysticism, I have the assets. So, like this is the adventurer that's in the game. This is the fire. I call them temple wares, but like I'll show you. See, like so, I built a bench, some pots, um, stuff like this. So when I'm actually when I was building in the game, I can just bring this into the game that I was creating. So say this is the game. So now, edit the latest version. As this one. This is new. 518, 520. This would be the new. So like I'm in here and say I'm like, oh, you know what? I want some more pots over here. Go here, my creations, and I would go into temple wares. See, look, it brings them all in. And then once I place them, I can ungroup them and then put them, spread them out amongst the map, which is exactly what I did. See,
Ooh wow.
see, all like this. These are all the different pieces, the fire and stuff like that. So what's good about this, doing it this way is, so say I come in here and I'm like, you know what, I learned a new technique or something like that, and I want to change this bench. So if I change this bench in any way, say I draw like a symbol on it right here, when I'm done, I save it, and you can actually set it to auto update. So because it's brought from here and put into here, once I save it and update the version, all the versions of this that I brought into here will get updated as well. So instead of me going into the main level and then I have to manually draw the symbol on all the benches that I put into the
That is
game,
dope, so useful.
yeah, I could just do it on this and just update it. That actually, I mean, that's how a lot of this stuff is done. In fact, when I had to do something before and I had to update it, and you have to set it. It doesn't update automatically. I have to go in and set it to auto. Let's see. These are people that have stuff created. Yeah, I don't. None of them need to be updated. But like, if I was to go this way, no, edit. Maybe not. Oh no, look, two need updates. Yeah. All right. So like this level that I got for someone, it's been updated. So what I didn't do is see this auto update. If you click it, it automatically updates every time that creator updates it. So like that one, this one. See, this is already set to auto update. So if that was to be updated, it would automatically do it. I wouldn't have to do anything for it. It would do it automatically. See, accept all updates. Are you sure you wish? Yes. See, and now they're all updated. So whatever changes they made in those games or scenes have now been updated to my version. Yeah, that's why I still. That's why if I'm gonna do another game, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Just put everything into like a collection. That's what this is called. This is a collection. Um, let's see, like start fresh. Say a collection gives you a blank screen, and then you just search. You grab whatever you want. You bring it in, and then you hit this. You save it, and that's it. And then I'll save it as a collection. So like this is a collection of a couple things that people have sent me that I did a video on, and I collected cool stuff. This is all my puppets. Oh, see, so I put all my puppets in. It's just kind of a way of organizing. Instead of me going through all this stuff to find it, it's all in those groups. That's what I did with this, the pyramid. So in the pyramid, it has the two levels, level one, level two, and then the logic that I had from one of my puzzles, and then the temple wares, the fire, and the adventurer. Because the adventurer I just kind of did real quick, but now if I want to, I can go into him and like really sculpt him and make him look like a real good adventurer, and I'll update it into the game itself automatically. That latest. I gotta finish this. Yeah, that's why I check YouTube all the time, and the stuff that people post on there sometimes is really good. Little tidbits. There's and Reddit. I'm on Reddit quite a bit. Discord. There's all the different channels for dreams and stuff like that.
I'm glad they gave us options and tools like those.
Yeah, yeah. I know they said they're coming out with more tutorials for the game. It's certain ones like that that they need to make more um, open to the people. Because I mean, some of the stuff like I had no idea on someone posted it on Reddit or YouTube or commented or did something about it, and that's the only way I would know how they actually did it. Because there's nowhere in the tutorials or in the hover over menus when you're hovering over, it gives you like those little quick tips. Like none of them tell you. That's why like the signal manipulator I have issues with because I don't know the full details of that. The calculator is a little weird to me. I mean I know the basics, but like I've seen some people do some crazy logic with calculators, and I just don't understand it 100%. I know enough to get by. But like I said, there's so much information out there with everybody. Some players have been around since the beta, so they have a little bit more knowledge than some of the other people.
You're helping me now, so thank you, JR2576.
No problem, dude. That's what it's all about. You gotta share the knowledge. That's why I try to stream too, because it's easier. It, well, for me anyway, it's easier to show and explain it to people than try to just like write it out or just like when I'm on Reddit or Discord and people ask questions, I try to help them the best I can, but sometimes what I'm trying to, like, I know what I want to say, but it just doesn't translate well into text when you're talking about logic and stuff like that, especially with logic, because there's so many different things, gates, so much, the different imports, outports, like trying to get it all, telling them where to put it, and then sometimes you don't remember exactly which which inputs and outputs they actually have. Yeah, so sometimes it gets real difficult to explain to people. Yeah, right. Yeah, so I'm gonna try to stream at least twice a week. Um, Wednesdays and Fridays is usually like the better days. Around the same time. Friday maybe more than once a day. It all depends. Like I know I did a stream last week or the week before, and it was like 8 hours long on a character that I deleted because I didn't like it. I mean, it was a little disheartening. I'm like, man, I just spent like 10
Clone
hours.
yourself and stream every day.
I wish I could, man. I do. Just to be like doing this all day, oh man, I will love it. Even when I'm at work, I'm like on my phone, checking Reddit, checking Discord, looking at stuff on In Dreams, watching videos on YouTube. There's a Facebook community. I'm in that. I've been looking at stuff in there too. I mean, I'm pretty proud of what I have done. I have no experience with this stuff at all, besides like Little Big Planet. But then I see people like I don't know if you've seen his work. His name is John Beach. Oh my God, he did a drill. You know what? Actually, I gotta show you. Like it is so amazing. I have to back out and show you. I think he's. I don't know if I think I follow him, but I'm not 100% sure.
Lol, 8 hours and you trashed it? Man, that is boss.
I didn't like the way it looked. That's literally all it was. Like I messed around with it for a while. Just like I said, there's a stream about it. I just did not like how it was coming out. Oh, let's see. Yeah, someone gave a thumb up to the pyramid. Cool. Oh, 4 minutes ago, 1 hour, 1 hour. That's because I just updated it. That's why. Uh, some of these guys are really good to follow. Max 17's really good. Black Spirit. I know these guys from Reddit and stuff like that. Lady Lex UK, she's a big YouTuber. She's helped out. Yeah, there's some really good people out there. Dribble Grunger, he's good. Acert, he does some amazing logic. How can I find out who I'm following? Following. Let's see if I can find him. Maybe it's the architect or name. know it's just by John Beach. Oh, I don't have it. Alright, we're gonna find him. Dream surfing, dreamers. Ah, I think it was something weird. Let's see. Yeah, I think he had like wines. I'm trying to think now. Was this? No, maybe. Man, I knew I should have saved it when I saw it. I thought I did. Oh, maybe that might be him right there. Yeah, this is him. You know what? I'm gonna follow him. You gotta see the stuff he did. Uh, where is? No, he did a drill that was like amazing. I mean, his pool table is awesome too. I don't see it. That's weird. I mean, even this is really good. I mean, look how he did all that detail. Look at that. That's definitely impressive. I can't believe he did drill, and it's somewhat. He was actually competing with people on Media Molecule. They were doing like a jam thing. I know he did. It's weird that it's not here. Hmm. He was positive that was him too. I don't know if I'll be able to find it elsewhere. I don't know if it's real. No. Hmm. Man, yeah, you're gonna have to look for it online. It's phenomenal. I wish it was actually here. I don't know where else I would be able to find that. Oh, you know what? Maybe I have someone with it. Clean. She might have it. Creations. I don't know where that would be. I don't know. That was two. It wasn't that long ago. No. Oh, this one. Would it be? Oh, that's the crossbows. Even this was. I saw this. This is amazing. I follow this guy too. I mean, look at that sculpting. That's just unbelievable. The feathers, amazing. Yeah, I already gave him a thumbs up. So this is 5, so maybe it was 6? No, 7? Nope. Hmm. Yeah, I guess it's one of those things. Just have to work for it. But it is really cool. Just go back.
Artists in this game are mind-blowing.
Yeah, yeah, that they are, man. I was blown away by some of the stuff I've seen people do, and I'm like, I can't believe that people have actually did that type of stuff. I know a couple of them that are in Reddit, and they actually have a history in sculpting programs. Like they talk, I've seen Unity, Blender. There's a couple of Z Paint or something like that. I don't even remember what it was. Like I've never had any experience, so when I see people doing stuff like that, and they say they had experience in those type of programs, this like the controls are very similar in certain ways. It's just how you do them that's different because we have the move controller and stuff like that instead of a keyboard and mouse. But yeah, when I see stuff like that, I'm like, damn, I'm like, that's crazy. Like, that's what I want to do.
Same here, no education on 3D modeling.
Yeah, I had no idea what that stuff. That's what I tell you. It was just like for me, it was just a lot of trial and error and a lot of practice. Just
Guess
trying
it all
all
is
of it.
my game.
Yeah, it just takes time to understand everything and how everything works.
Slow but still fun.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said too. People, I think it was on Facebook, they were talking about like how their characters or levels weren't getting that many thumbs up or many views and stuff like that. And, you know, anyone that makes anything for the most part like copyrighted, so like the Sonics, the Marios, and all that, they get like all the attention for whatever reason. I think it's because it's just something that people are familiar with, I guess. I don't know. But you got all these great things being made out here, all original, and not always getting all the limelight that they deserve. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of them do, but when you go onto DreamSurf, all the stuff that's really liked is all copyrighted, remade versions. Someone did PT, someone did Dexter's Laboratory, someone did Courage the Cowardly Dog. The Mario's and the Sonics and the Crash Bandicoots are insane. There's tons of them out there. I mean, I think it's great if that's something you want to start off with because at least that way you have something familiar to work with. It's like a science project, I guess. Like that's the one variable that you can control because you know what Crash looks like. You know how his gameplay goes. Um, same thing with Mario. I mean, hell, even me, my second, well, my first game that I actually did was a Pac-Man game because I know how Pac-Man works. You got a guy with a big mouth going around eating the power pellets and then eating the ghost. So like when I started with him, I knew what he looked like, so I knew how to sculpt, and then I knew the gameplay mechanics of how it works. And then all I had to do is just figure out the logic for it. And if you already know how the end is going to be, trying to get to that point is a lot easier than just starting from scratch. Same thing with the other logic that I posted, the Simon Says logic. I mean, it's kind of like Simon Says. I mean, there's some changes to it that I did, but because I knew exactly how it needed to work, it made it a lot easier trying to figure it out how to get it to work. Oh, yes. But once I did the Pac-Man level, though, everything after that that I've done is all original. I actually,
I may never publish anything, I just love creating.
you'll be surprised, man. Even if you make like little things, like you build a car or you make a tank or even a sculpture. I mean, I've seen people use some random stuff that like I would not expect, and then use it and incorporate it into their levels. Some guy did like a sculpture, and then someone remixed it, took it, and put it into their map as a sculpture, and it actually came out pretty cool. And the person that he remixed it from still got credit for helping out. There's people out there that just build assets. Like I've seen it tons of times. So someone's like, "Oh, anyone need a coffee maker? Look, I just crafted a coffee maker." And people are like, "Oh, that's awesome! I'm gonna use it." Or storefronts. I remember a while back someone did. It looked like a flower store. I mean, it came out phenomenal, and then it appeared in a couple games because people were doing like a street,
Lol.
and on that street would be like stores. Yeah, that's why. So even if just you, I publish my stuff, but people who use it or not, that's up to them. But I at least I give them the option of if they want to use it. I was sculpting it and gonna make it anyway, so it doesn't matter to me if they want to use it or not. So I might as well publish it and then let them use it if they choose to. Like I know when I was doing my wizard, people were like, "Oh my god, I can't wait till it's done. I want to use it and all that stuff." And then I posted it, and no one's used it. The only thing they've done with it is add it to like collections, their personal collections, or and publish those personal collections. I mean, that's the other thing. That I mean, that's what's great, really, about this game. So you don't like some people. They don't have an artistic talent. They don't want to sculpt. They don't want to create anything. So you got a game. You get all these random games that you can play, just as if you're playing games on your cell phone. You get all these different types of games, all these different types of perspectives of different types of games that you could play. Uh, there's people out there making friggin' RPGs already. There's the side scrollers and all that stuff, the platformers and all that. So you get all these different kind of games that you can play with, whenever you want. And it doesn't have to be anything serious. You got friends, family over or whatever, and you just want to play a couple games. Just load up a couple games, and you could save them to your collections. And that part, they have that down as a curator, um, where if you actually you make a collection, put all the things that you like for whatever reason it is. It's great games, great sculptures, like I was doing with the cool stuff, and you could publish that, and other people could be like, "Oh, what does this guy have? Oh, he's got a whole bunch of different things in this collection. Let me check it out." And they'll go through it as well. In fact, when I did my excuse me, my magician, some guy was like, "Dude," he's like, if you save the staff separately, he's like, "I have a whole collection of weapons. I'll add it to it." I'm like, "Okay." So I went into the magician, selected the staff, and you can actually save it as a project of itself. I don't know if you knew about that. Um, actually, I can show you real quick. So, like, actually, I don't know if that would work. Well, maybe if I. So, let's see. Puppet. No, maybe not. It was, I don't remember how I did it now. Maybe if I just build a block. Let's see, build a block. And then if I select it, there you go. Save as a new creation. So if I was to save this right now, when I backed out of this,
If anyone wanted my stuff, I would send them free prescription.
what did it say? Art is
Reading glasses.
reading. I like the just prescription. They need drugs. But everybody looks at art differently, so you never know. Something you create might be right up someone's alley, and they're gonna be like, "Oh man, I gotta put that into my scene or my game or whatever it is that they're working on." I mean, you'd be surprised what some people do. Like someone actually remixed. Oh, I gotta my pyramids of mysticism, and when I went into it, there was nothing there except for an eyeball, and I don't have eyeballs on my level, so I don't know how that all worked. And then there was another level he did, and he remixed the pyramid of
Lol.
mysticism, and it had the whole pyramid and like half the land, and he added like a whole bunch of stuff to it. I mean, it looked totally different, even though it was my pyramid of mysticism.
I like original work. That's why I stopped into your stream.
Yeah, that's literally all I do now. I just do my own stuff, um, original all the time. In fact,
You were making a mask.
yeah, yeah. Yep, yeah. That was the one I think I deleted. I like the way he was coming out. I actually did after I did that. I started a new one, and I deleted him too because I didn't like the way he was coming out. That's why if you actually look at my playlist with all the streams that I did, it's like creation, creation again, new creation. Because I went through a phase where like everything that I was creating, it just the look just didn't appeal to me for whatever reason. I don't know what it was. I was going through a rut. Oh, I was going through a rut, I guess, where I just couldn't find anything that worked well together. So I just deleted it. Might continue on something I wasn't happy with. There we go. There we go. I did it to this one, but you don't really notice it much. Last leg. Yeah, my next one I definitely want to do a car. That'd be something new for me because I haven't done anything like that. It's mostly been like the puppets and stuff like that that I've done. Now that I've learned more. Oh,